You're standing at a party, 50 people around you, music playing, glasses clinking, someone laughing 2 feet away. And somehow, in the middle of all that noise, you feel completely alone. Strange, isn't it? You'd think more people would mean less loneliness. But the real answer is far stranger. Loneliness isn't about how many people surround you. It's about something your brain is silently counting, something ancient, something you never chose. For most of human history, survival depended on a very specific number of relationships. Not 50, not 500, a number closer to 150. Go back far enough and you won't find a single human being who lived the way you live now. No stranger sat 2 feet away from your ancestors while remaining, for all practical purposes, invisible. Every face was a known face. Every voice belonged to someone whose story you could recite. That was not a lifestyle choice. It was the only version of human life that existed for nearly the entire span of our species. That number comes from anthropologist Robin Dunbar, who studied primate brain size and social group size and found a pattern. The bigger the brain's neocortex, the bigger the stable social circle an animal could maintain. For humans, that ceiling sits around 150 people. Beyond that, your brain simply cannot hold the social map. Names blur, faces blend, relationships thin out until they become background noise. Dunbar didn't stop at one number. He found layers inside it, almost like rings around a tree. At the very center sit your closest people, usually no more than 5. The ones you'd call at 3 in the morning without hesitation. Around them sits a slightly wider ring of maybe 15, close friends and family you see regularly. Beyond that, 50 people you'd call good friends. And at the outer edge, 150 acquaintances whose lives you could still roughly follow. Everyone beyond that ring becomes, to your brain, essentially a stranger, no matter how many times you've technically met them. It's worth sitting with how small those inner rings actually are. 5 people. Not 50, not 500. 5. That number hasn't changed since the days of open grassland and shared fires, no matter how large your contact list has grown. So when you walk into a room of 50 strangers, your ancestral brain doesn't see 50 potential friends. It sees 50 unknowns, 50 question marks. And question marks, to a brain built for small tribes, feel like threats waiting to be sorted. Modern anthropologists studying groups like the Hadza in Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, still find social units that hover close to Dunbar's number. Small camps, overlapping kin, faces repeated across a lifetime. Nobody in a Hadza camp scrolls past 300 acquaintances before lunch. The entire concept would be unthinkable to a mind shaped for that kind of life. And yet that is exactly the mind you're carrying around today, dropped into a world of subways, offices, and group chats it was never designed to parse. Here's the strange part. Your brain isn't measuring the room. It's measuring connection. Real connection. The kind built over years of shared meals, shared danger, shared secrets. A crowd gives you proximity, not connection. And your nervous system knows the difference, even when you don't consciously notice it. Think about your ancestors for a moment. 40,000 years ago, a human being alone was not romantic. It was not peaceful solitude. It was a death sentence. Alone meant no one to watch your back while you slept. Alone meant no one to share food during a bad season. Alone meant a predator could take you and no one would even notice you were gone. So evolution did something clever. It didn't just make loneliness uncomfortable. It made loneliness painful, on purpose, using the same alarm system your body uses for physical danger. Consider what happens to social mammals that lose their group entirely. Wolves separated from a pack don't simply adjust and move on. Elephants that lose a matriarch show behavior researchers describe as grief, wandering, distress calls, a visible disruption to the entire herd's rhythm. Humans are no exception to this pattern. We're simply the species that took it furthest. Somewhere in our evolutionary past, the cost of losing the group became so severe that natural selection built an emotion specifically to prevent it from happening. That emotion is loneliness, and it has been quietly doing its job for longer than language has existed. This is where the research gets fascinating. Psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying loneliness, and he found something remarkable. The brain processes social pain using overlapping circuitry with physical pain. When you feel excluded, when you feel unseen in a crowd, your brain lights up in regions eerily similar to those triggered by a broken bone. Loneliness.